Hello, everyone. So I'm going to talk about NFT use cases, implementations, but more importantly, going back to fundamentals. So my name is Dayan Brunie. I'm software architect at MetaMask, and I'm mainly working on on-chain reputation and trust scoring to build permissionless system. So it's a big concern within MetaMask. And before that, I work within Consensus on several NFT drops. And I have concern about NFT. And so the purpose of this talk is to explore how we can build valuable use cases for people, for the society, for the real economy. So first, I invite you all to take a step back about what are NFTs, and even going further about what are our non-fungible possessions. So from cradle to grave, we have possessions. But we were born without any possession, and we will die without possession. But yet, we are having a lot of possessions all along our life, and yet, we are craving for possessions. So, why? And I would say, possessions are real, or is it just an illusion? I think it is, but it's really important for our society to protect people, and in general, possessions are just the outcome of our work. They are also inheritance. So we need to have possessions to protect that. Otherwise, it will be the law of jungle. So when you were born, before you don't have any possession, but just a little bit before you have a first possession, it's your identity. Your parents give you a name. You have some identificator, like your gender. And then you were born and you start having your first possession. You have toys. You have a family. You grow up, and then you have, for example, a car, a degree, and then you buy a home. You have real estate and so on. And then maybe there are souvenirs about you, but all that are like non-fungible possessions. So it's obvious that non-fungible possessions are unique assets that are not intrinsically exchangeable. So it's all about I. So when you say I, it's what is soulbound to you in general, and what is might, all your possessions that you have all along your life. And then you have all others that have possessions that you care or not, and in general, not so much. But in terms of possession, so as I say, you have your identity that is core, but you have also credentials like degrees and so on, and you have real estates, you have your car, you have relationship, and we need to ask ourselves what is the proof, what makes something a possession. So, for example, you have a cap, you have shoes. What makes this a possession? So, actually, sometimes it's quite simple. So you need a proof of ownership to prove that something is your possession. And when you have non-very valuable goods, just having a hand on it, it's enough. You just have something we offer you. You have it. It's enough. And then you have more valuable things like your computer. You have you have a cell phone. So then you have invoice, or you have artwork, and then you have a certifying paper. So this helps yeah, protecting yourself. But it's not enough for like valuable, like very expensive or valuable things. So this is where we introduce ledgers. And ledgers introduce the proof of ownership. So we all live with ledgers. So if you have a real estate, just having like the keys is not enough. So you have a landlord, you have a cadastre. If you have a copyright, you have like l'SSM in France that enable to keep track of your ownership. But now we have a decentralized ledger, and this brings a lot of new use cases that we could have, but without some specific implementation, some specific protection about the real ownership, the immutability, and so on. So all that is key for valuable assets, and laws is helping a lot on that, because if you have a dispute, you rely on laws. But sometimes your asset is directly on-chain, for example, and then you don't need anything than the proof on-chain. So it's all about ledger for valuable asset, and you can have virtual or like physical or immaterial assets. And a ledger, like a blockchain or any centralized ledger, is just a pointer that shows that you own something. So it's a proof of ownership. And what is important is to have like an issuer that is relevant, that have the legitimacy to issue this ledger. So for decentralized ledger, you don't need to trust them for the long time. Just at the issuance times, you need they need to have legitimacy, because if you have anyone that say, okay, I'm publishing a ledger, and this ledger will be the land registry. If they have no legitimacy, it doesn't make sense. So it's important to have the relevant issuer, and then the ledger is linking an asset. So you have an identifier for real asset, like a physical asset or immaterial asset. The entry in the ledger is not the asset. So it's true for immaterial and material assets. So an avatar in blockchain, for example, an NFT, is not the avatar, it's just a proof of ownership. So I think it's a really important concept. And then you have the identity and access management that enable to prove that you are related to this asset. So just in terms of implementation, decentralized ledger. So initially with Bitcoin, it was just one use case. It was about monetary system and exchange of value with money, fungible assets. But now with smart contracts, you can implement any use cases, just deploying, and anyone is free to deploy a smart contract. The ledger with some standards that exist today. And this is just a self-executing program with storage and functions. And then you can implement any use case. So let's come back to our person that was born and then add like an identity. So you can have the identity that is related to the person in the decentralized ledger, or real estate. After it, you can have the identifier of the real estate, so the parcel, and then some owner. So what will identify the owner? So for decentralized ledger, it's the account, and you have the private key that proves that you are owner of the account. And then you can have have all the state transition mechanism in order to manage your ledger. And then you can deploy it on any decentralized distributed ledger technology, and with metadata and so on. So to build use cases, we came up with several standards that help standardizing, so it enables to have interoperability between the different NFT implementation and so on. So, like, yeah, the first one is ERC 721, but you can see that depending on the blockchain, you have different standards. But basically, it's quite simple. It's an identifier that will identify the asset and an ownership. For a multi-non-fungible token that is well known with ERC 1155, so here you have an identifier with an address, but with an amount, because it's semi-fungible. So you have some copy of the same asset, let's say. And then you have soulbound tokens that are quite relevant in real society use cases, where you can have something that is bound to your address. So you can have your identity, you can have like your reputation, you have badges, you have your degrees, and so on. So yeah, it's really it's an artifact that enables to create use cases that go beyond financial, and that can be leveraged for social network and so on. And yeah, you have composable tokens that enable even for social use cases, but gaming and so on, to compose NFT with other NFTs, and then you can bring like an infinite number of use cases. So now we have another kind of standards. So it exists like a long time before, but we know that all the data, the personal data, are like sensitive, and you don't want to have everything on chain. So verifiable credential enable to provide some credential like you identity, a degree, and so on, without putting it on chain. But you have a proof, a signature proof that enable to record it. So you can have it in your wallet, for example, and then you can prove everything with it. So you can go to a bar, for example, and prove that you are more than 18 without sharing your age and so on. So you can have a lot of use cases. And with attestation, you can basically provide any trust attestation about someone or any artifact. And this is leveraging decentralized identifier. And all that are composed with an issuer and subject and a claim. So it enables to create some graph, trust graph. So it's really key for any reputation-based use cases like borrowing or like permissionless mechanism systems. Let's say a wallet that enable extensibility by the end users, for example, for expanding capabilities. And you have also some ERCs that enable to mint as soulbound token verifiable credentials. And then you have a lot of way of implementing the different features, and I won't deep dive on it, but with all that, you can see them as building blocks to create any valuable use cases. My favorite use cases are the identity, as I talked before. So you can see the implementation that you can use to implement this kind of case. Identity basically is everything from your name until your national identity and so on. Social network with social graph, reputation and trust, credentials, and so forth. So my main area of exploration is a decentralized society, and this enables this kind of use cases. So it's my last, it's nearly the last slide. So here it's an example of what we can do with social graph that you can build with attestations, with verifiable credentials. But so for example, me, as Dayan, I have some identities that are characterized by my lens profile, by my ENS, and I have also POAP. I have DOA membership, PFP, and so on. And then I have a lot of people that I follow through a decentralized social network, that I have attestation from to attest that I have some skills and so on. And yeah, with that you can build like recursively you can build like trust, and you can implement like an unlimited number of use cases. So yeah, this brings this benefits. So yeah, true ownership and control over personal data. So you disclose only what you want to disclose. Data portability for social graph, for example, you can use your data for any social network. Data immutability, so the intermediaries can't like remove your data; it's forever, and enable like any permissionless mechanism. That's all. Thank you.